Hi guys, welcome back to another Hive Weekly. We took a quick break last week due to the holiday over here, but we're back and today's topic is healthy gaming and I'm so excited about today's guest. We are Esports CCP, which is for college and career pathways, and we are providing a safe and supportive environment for esports and gaming. Our partners are Corsair, ESTV, the Gamers, and NFL alumni. Today's co host, I'm really excited to introduce you to her. She's one of my cool peoples, I like to call them. She's also a member of Black Girl Gamers like I am. We both stream on the channel. She's a Twitch creator who played collegiate Overwatch with her university for almost 2 years. And I literally just found that out yesterday. And I had to snatch her up because I'm like, you have to come co host this with me. I'm going to fill you in eventually what it is. And I still haven't filled her in. But she continues to play on a team and is now looking to continue staying involved with Overwatch while bringing esports opportunities to Black and Brown women. So my co-host for today is Madam M. Hi, M.
Hi, Allie, and everyone who's tuning in. Thanks so much for having me here today. It is so great to be here with all of you, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you all today.
Yeah, and you also have like a. We're gonna talk about it later, but she actually recognized somebody from the Overwatch team, so it's really cool. So let's talk about our guest. I'm gonna do a brief introduction, and then we're gonna give him some cool questions, and then after that, we're gonna have a scrim. Um, with Coven, with Agave Esports, Coven, and Nascosto. I feel like I always say that wrong. I'm so sorry if I butchered the name. But our guest today is Carrick and Violetta Ivanova. Well, Carrick Coden. He is the founder of Quadriclix Gaming. He started working on the RBT, which is Right Above Touch mouse, designed in 2013. He hopes his works will help to reduce tendiopathy and carpal tunnel syndrome. And Violetta Ivanova is a psychotherapist and esports performance coach for Roots Gaming based in Finland. Her experience is in neuro and school age pediatric rehabilitation, and author of a world first study on carpal tunnel syndrome symptoms in esports. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for
Hi,
having us.
hello.
I'm so excited. So, can you tell us, Carrick, about why you started Quadriclix and a little bit about the design?
Sure. Um, hey guys, my name is Garrett Coton. I'm the founder and the current CEO of Quadriclix Gaming. The reason why I started this project was because back in college, this is before esports was a formal thing. Uh, I started playing League of Legends as early as 2009. So when it first launched, I was one of the gaming enthusiasts you call that would give them anywhere between 7 to 12 hours a day, just playing and giving up social life. I was in college at the time, and I didn't party as much. I didn't party at all. uh, uh, no dating, and my grades went from a 4.0 to a 2.9 in a matter of 2 years. So I barely graduated, and I was just thinking, like, what am I doing with my life, right? Not only did I not achieve as much as I would like, because I was always a tryhard in life, and you know, I would get good grades, a typical. My plan was basically med school, and all that went to the drain. And also, from my 7+ hours a day League of Legends, I developed a tendinopathy and carpal tunnel syndrome in my right hand. As you can see, I haven't had any surgery whatsoever with this mouse hand, and there was no solution at the time. I've tried out different ergonomic mouse designs. I've also followed doctors' recommendations in with doing stretches, and eventually they said my symptom was really bad. I had to go through surgery and get a release surgery, where they at the time they had to basically poke a hole in here and drain out the fluid, um, you know, for to releasing uh, the clot that's inside the carpal tunnel. Um, I wish I had better words than other than being a chicken. I got really scared of a knife, and I said I'm not gonna do it. Kind of made a bargain. Um, don't do this if you ever got diagnosed with carpal tunnel syndrome. But I made a bargain with myself, and I said, what if I just go cold turkey for 5 years straight or something like, can it eventually heal itself? So I
Mm-hmm.
tried that. After graduate college in 2010, for my undergrad, I haven't touched the gaming, PC gaming for nearly 5 years. I kept my word
Oh
on it.
wow.
So it was pretty tough. Like, if you remember, this is when Dota 2, League of Legends started like coming up with all these
MOBAs were blowing
right,
up.
and Blizzard 2. Everyone started doing this esports, and college kids they're getting sponsored, and professional teams rising up, tournaments going worldwide, $1 million prize pools. This is unheard of before. And I was just there, like, banging my head, going, "What am I thinking? Maybe I should have just got the surgery and then, moved on with my life and maybe tried to be a professional." And that was my goal. But I couldn't. So I tried back a couple times. I couldn't do it. Um, Meanwhile, I had this idea in my head. I was thinking, like, what if I created something that could counterbalance the existing mouse motions? So maybe by doing the counter motions, which is instead of pressing down, I will lift up to form a
Oh.
click. Would that reverse the process and help me get my hand into a better shape? So eventually, I went down. I went to hire a friend of mine from Harvey Mudd and to work on a 3D design for me for $100, and he thought it was not enough. um, and we did. So I got to work, and then the design that you see today on the market, I'll show you what I have on the table, which is this
Yeah.
guy, the Quadriclicks RPT Rebel Real 1.112. By the way, that's my phone number. The last 4 digits.
Oh
In
my
case you wonder
god,
why
don't
it's
say that.
111.
Don't say that. Delete the pod. No, I'm
Uh,
kidding.
don't worry, they don't know the rest of the digits, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
The reason why this design came about was I'll just be honest here. Like, I'm not a genius or anything. I created this way, but instead, my original thought was this was the platform that you see in
Mhm,
here was supposed to be much higher, so that you
mhm.
have a gap in between where you can put your fingers in there, and
Oh.
when you lift it, it will click. That
Oh.
was the original thought. But uh, first of all, nobody wanted to try that because they're just like, this is awkward. I'm not gonna lift my finger to make it
Mhm.
click. And the uh, I call it a stumbled upon happiness is when what I did is I made a mistake in printing the 3D designs. The guys that helped me to print this actually I got the spacing wrong, but he didn't correct me, right? So it's still his fault.
Oh.
No, it was my fault. It was my fault. And the spacing was wrong, so it was so tiny I couldn't put my finger in between. So after the
Right.
3D model came back, I was looking at it and I said, you know what? I carved out the side like this and just like this look at least it looks better than
Mhm.
uh than what I had in mind. But I took it out and I showed it around at trade show called Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas.
Right.
They want a CES show. And every time I showed it to people, instead of people putting their finger or trying to put it in there, like what I
Mhm.
imagined, they will put their hand on top of it and then they will click like this. Everyone
Oh.
would, and they're like, "Ooh, this is actually really comfortable compared to having to click with my fingertips." I can definitely feel like they were telling me how they felt was basically the tension was not accumulated in their wrist, but instead it was shifted in their forearm or somewhere further down. And
Yeah.
I was like, this could be something, right? So I call it the moment that I stumbled upon happiness. Um, I took the design to a manufacturer and I said, "Look, can we make this? We put
Mhm.
a metal rod in here, like in this area, so the tip is stabilized. You don't click on it. Instead, you just rest on it because it's stabilized. It gets rid of fingertip hovering. So when you're not clicking the computer mouse like a regular mouse, you don't have to uh, hover over the buttons constantly and getting ready for the next action. But now you can just rest on top of it like this. And let me show you a magic trick real quick. You can actually hold it too.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can hold in your hand like this, and when you're moving, when you're clicking, you can hold it like this,
Yeah.
and you can click. Can you hear?
Oh wow.
Oops, accidentally clicked you out.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm fascinated.
Right.
But
So
that's really cool.
this is where the design came about. It came from a complete
Hmm.
accident, and there you go.
That's a great happy accident. Oh my god. Oh my god. So Violetta, sorry, I didn't want to forget you, but yeah, can you tell us what a physiotherapist does, and tell us about performance coach for Roots Gaming, like how that came about?
Yeah, of course. Before that, very cheeky way to get your phone number out there. No, you didn't date it during college, but now I guess it's a good time to start. So thumbs up for that. Nice move. Um, so yeah, I am a physiotherapist. I'm based in Finland. It is 3 getting towards 3:30 a.m. here,
Oh
so
my
I apologize
gosh.
if I'm not particularly
No, it's okay.
coherent. So let's see how that goes. In terms of what a physiotherapist does, we study movement and we help with movement. The goal in every case of treatment is that people are able to do what they want to do in their life for as long as possible and with as little limitations as possible. So the story about quitting League of Legends cold turkey and not touching any gaming for 5 years, we actually try to not get people to do that because that means that they are quitting a part of their everyday life that they really enjoy. So the role of a physiotherapist in this case would be to uh, help support the person who is in need of therapy, and we try to rehabilitate them as quickly as possible and help them maintain that for as long as possible within their life. If that involves surgery, then that is something that sometimes is necessary in order for somebody to continue doing their life. Because, like in this case, you could quit gaming, but if we're talking occupational problem, like if you work at a computer every day and that's why you got carpal tunnel syndrome, then of course we want you to get back to work as soon as possible because that is what you do. Um, so we have a lot of different techniques for that. Um, and physiotherapy is also known as conservative treatment in ways that surgery would be surgical treatment. So conservative treatment means non-surgical. That would be anything from manual therapy, exercises, um, electrotherapy, kinesiotaping, and a lot of different other techniques that we could use to help people. Um, so our main goal is to really allow people to be able to do what they want to do with their lives. And it is a field that is only now up and coming in terms of
Mhm.
esports, because gamers have not yet woken up to the point that they actually need a physiotherapist in their team as much as every other sports team out there. Of course, gaming is not a necessarily a physical activity. It's more cognitive performance, but you still need the rest of your body to function well in order to support that cognitive function to be at a higher level. So the goal would be the same in performance training, that we get your baseline good, and everything else we do to improve is to help you continue to perform at a top level for as long as possible and with hopefully as few symptoms or symptom free as possible.
Cool. Um, so like you saw the design of the mouse. How cool is that? Can you tell us what it's like for like especially in Europe with esports? Is it like just coming about that they have like somebody into physical fitness, or like not even physical fit, but in with your profession, the physiotherapy, even though we use mouse and keyboards like all the time, because even pro players, they tend to like train for like 15 to 16 hours a day, which is crazy. But do you feel like they need to add it more into the programs?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really good point that people use keyboard and mouse all the time, but do they
Mhm.
actually know how to use them correctly? Because
Oh.
more often than not, they don't. And when you look into the past, when people just started to do desk work, for example, typewriters, right?
Mhm.
They used to type all the time at a keyboard. However, they were very well trained in how to adjust their own ergonomics for their own position, how to handle themselves in terms of posture, what breaks to take, what exercises to do within small breaks, the importance of taking breaks, on how to sit, how to type, the pressure that you put on your keyboard. Has anybody nowadays been taught how to actually type and how much pressure to put on the keyboard? No, because we
Yeah.
have moved from the point of training the person on how to do their desk job into creating these ultra ergonomic environments and then placing the person in the middle of it. But then, if you have a bad posture, it doesn't matter how expensive chair you have, you will still have a bad posture while sitting in that chair. It's not going to do it for you. So it's not a popular opinion necessarily,
Mhm.
but that is at least my personal position um, on using keyboard and mouse. That you have to also look at the person, because everybody sits in a different way. Everybody prefers their peripherals in a different way. So how do we adjust them based on how the person prefers them, uh, to help them do their job? And in my case, the esports athletes, they are at work when they are competing, when they're practicing. So we treat it the same way that we would do any other position of occupation. Um, so with esports players, it's you have to start at the basics, right?
Oh wow.
We're talking people that are mostly young, mostly who haven't necessarily had a previous experience with whether it's physical activity or physiotherapist or anything along those lines. So you want to get the baseline right. How do they sleep? How do they eat? How do they drink? And what? Um,
Mm.
do they have any relaxation strategies? Do they have any exercise in their daily life? Because obviously you sit for a long time at a desk. So what else do you do in your daily life? Because essentially it's with pretty much all of the problems that can occur at a desk. Um, it doesn't happen just because you're sitting at a desk and using a computer. It happens because you're doing it for 8 hours straight. So it's not the sitting that's the problem, it's the how long you sit that's going to do it. So trying to really get those small breaks in between, trying to get a very basic mobilization of the body before and after uh, scrims, just really getting the baseline. And once that is good, that alone can help improve performance.
Mhm.
So from then on, we can start building upon that performance. And there is a lot of talk in esports about how do you increase performance in players and how do you improve performance in players. But you cannot necessarily improve on top of a non-existing baseline, because you want to get your baseline right, because then it will be more sustainable.
Mm. Great answer. You want to ask Carrick, the next question. As you can see, my cat
Sure
is
thing,
now in my
absolutely.
hand.
So you designed this mouse to be able to address a need that is gradually rising in the esports and gaming community at large. But what really inspired you to sort of like specifically design this entirely new mouse? So you mentioned a little bit about the specifications and how you sort of stumbled upon this design, but what sort of really also like it continued to be your source of inspiration for wanting to keep doing this work?
So uh, I wanted to solve my own carpal tunnel problem for myself without having to go through surgery. I'm very big on natural cure, and if I don't have to take medicine, I will not do it. If I don't have to go to the doctor, I will not do it. I know it sounds really backdated, and old fashioned, but I've been like this my whole life. You know, I rarely get sick. I play sports, water polo, swimming, track and fields all through life. In my high school, college days, um, I really wanted to fix my own carpal tunnel problem. And when I started using the RBT mouse, um, what I started noticing after about 3 months or so is I had this weird itch like inside the hand, and it's kind of a similar itchiness where you normally get when you're working out, like when you are doing weight training, and the muscles are growing and you're feeling it. So that's what I started realizing things are going in the right direction. I kept on using generation one, the first prototype, and the second one, the third one, the fourth one. We actually went through a total of 12 prototypes before we produced the final batch on the official Quadriclix RBT Rebel Reel product. So I've been using the prototypes for about a year and a half. After 18 months into it, that's when I realized I could grab my phone again. I can actually pick it up, and my strength were coming back. When I'm shaking hands with the people that I met for the first time, I'm able to have that dominance again, not having to fear that the other person is going to squeeze my hand so tight it's going to hurt me. I don't know
Oh
what
my
it sounds like,
gosh.
but for guys, I was a jockey. Like I was not a nerd when I was going to school. Um, when you meet somebody, especially another male, you know, the
Yes,
handshake has to be
squeeze.
firm. um, so it was a social disability, a social
Hmm.
disability, and
Hmm.
I realized I was recovering. And by the time uh, I was in business for about a year, um, I was completely gone. The carpal tunnel syndrome that I had, the tendinopathy, the even the arthritis I had in my fingers were completely gone. So I think the body has a way to heal itself if you don't sabotage it. Um, sorry, I forgot your question.
They're asking about the new design, the.
um, your question was uh, what? Could you repeat the last part of your question? I kind of
Yeah,
forgot.
absolutely. So you have gone through 12 versions of this mouse that you've designed, and it has been beneficial to you. So what has now like continued to be your inspiration to like continue to improve on, I guess, the upcoming designs that you have for this mouse, as well as sort of, oh, I suppose my question is, what is your next step? Like, what would you like to see happen with your mouse now?
Um, even though there's mouse works with people that are doing a lot of clicking games like CS:GO, League of Legends, uh, people don't really know that exists.
No.
And we initially started focusing on in gamers community, but nobody took it seriously because the look of it is so um, out of this world compared to all the other mouses out there, and people judged it and really trashed it before they give it a chance or a shot. Um, when when we're presented this before the gamers audience, they look at it and they say, "No, I'm good," or they say, "Ah, this is ugly. This is not for me," and nobody wanted to give it a shot. am I going to try it? So we actually shifted our focus from gamers to professionals. We gave these to people that are professionally using a computer mouse on a daily basis. And these are the people that are architects, designers, engineers, um, lawyers, doctors, um, people who are doing data collecting, or insurance agents. These are our customers that are. They think this product is a miracle because they went from having experienced discomfort in their wrist and in their carpal tunnel area for over 10 years, and to using this for about a week or so, they started realizing that it takes longer for them to feel the stress and the burning, and the discomfort they normally feel by the end of the day. It's no longer there. And what this design really does is it allows your hand to relax. Um, it doesn't have a specific grip because it doesn't fit into the category of either a claw grip, a palm grip, or a fingertip grip, because um, the design, the look of it's very unique. It really lets your hand relax and do its own thing. You don't. So there is no category that's in existence. I want to point out another thing is, um, when in a typical gaming session, like a League of Legends, you have to click, 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 click. You can right click over, you know, period of maybe 30 minutes and more. Now, by the time you're clicking fast clicks in a gaming engagement past over say 20 minutes or so, you're gonna feel that strain and burning sensation in the palm area very quickly. And also, if you're using a mouse that has a back support that goes inside your palm, then chances are you're going to have sweaty palm very quickly because this is where the sweat glands are located in your hand. So what we got is a gap. The RBT mouse shape actually has a gap. So if it doesn't touch your palm, then you're more likely to stay relaxed. Um, and each time you click, we've actually done testings on this, so we know each time you click the RBT mouse, it only takes about 40 to 50% of the force that you would normally click with a regular mouse. So you actually click. The clicking takes less effort per click. And after about say 30 minutes or so, with a typical RBT mouse, you're still not going to feel any kind of tension or strain at all compared to a regular mouse. What we're working on now is I want people to start using the RBT mouse, and we are addressing some of the cost factors associated with the uh, production as well as affordability. There are a lot of gamers who complain about the pricing being too expensive, and I've taken that to heart. I know that it is a little bit on the expensive side, mostly because we don't produce on a large quantity level yet. So, you know, we only produce about 4 or 5 thousand units a year. Domestically for people here in the United States. Um, for our next production for the new units, we're looking to lower the pricing significantly and make it more affordable for gamers to start using it and try it. Um, in terms of design, it's like this, right? People look at something, is it aesthetically pleasing? You're not looking at the function first already to say, is this going to make me look better than I already am? Right. It's not so much about the function. It's more so about or the performance. They all matter, but it's about you driving in a Porsche, versus my old Honda.
You're like, slap some LEDs on that thing. But it's okay. I personally don't care how it looks. I think my mouse right now looks really ugly. It's not really the cutest thing. It looks like a lizard or something. I don't know. But I mean, I understand. Gamers, they love I'm surrounded by lights, so I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really good that you're addressing some of the customer feedback or like people saying it's like not affordable and things. So I mean, that's really like we would like accessibility also in cost effectiveness. But I mean, I think your mouse looks really cool, and I would love to see it more out there. Maybe you should pitch to some esports guys, you know? No, I'm kidding. No, but have you pitched to like esports before? That's what I meant to ask.
So for the past year or so, we were past year and a half, we were focusing on just professionals, mostly architect firms like TSP Inc., uh,
Which is
Morgan
really
Smith
cool, by the way.
Architects,
Yeah.
HMC, and even Gensler too. We've sold some of the units to professional organizations for like engineering companies. But we actually started pitching to esports teams this year, and
Awesome.
so far we've got about 5 teams, 5 esports teams, and 4 of them already officially signed up.
Wow.
We have teams signed up with teams like Eternal Empire. They're based in Canada. We have GR Gaming. They're based in Hong Kong. We have also partnered up with the official esports team with Esports Stadium Arlington, Texas. And
nice.
Recently, we also signed up with a new sponsored partnership with Bear Claw Esports as well. And we got a couple of more exciting deals coming up with League of Legends teams. One is based in Ontario, Singapore, and there's another one that's coming up based in mainland China. And we're looking to definitely invest more energy and resources in esports this year.
That's awesome.
And hopefully they welcome us back.
Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations to all of that. So Violetta, I did want to ask you about like your research as far as like about the industry, because you talk extensively about it, about them needing to actually teach people how to do like, the basics, which I really understand, because I thought about it. I was like, I did get like typing classes in school, but that was just for like typing fast. It wasn't really for esports. It's really cool. And now, like, especially now, like this channel, we talked to a lot of people in college and high school. They're now developing esports. So would you like have recommendations as to like what they can do, especially if they're doing it in high school, like such a young age, just to like train them properly? Would it be to bring in a professional, or like, have like maybe incorporated in a class or so? Because they are all going like remote too. It's just a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think first it's a really good thing that esports are going on a college level, because that brings it from being that hobby of the person that stays at home and just games all the time into being an actual organized extracurricular activity. And in my opinion, if it is done within the school premises, then there's always going to be the teaching element, because there's going to be the teachers being involved as well. And I think that's a great thing. In terms of the training, there is nothing specific at this point. I am working on injury prevention programs, but they are very highly individual. As it is with most things, physiotherapy, it is individual treatments that we do, because everyone's different. But I think the one thing that I could advise is definitely to keep in mind on breaks, like listening. Like, it sounds very trivial to listen to your body, but that's really what people need to do, because it's very easy to forget to drink, to forget to stand up if you get caught in the game. Like League of Legends matches can go for 30-minute, 40-minute, hour.
You just queue right back up.
yeah, absolutely. So it's very easy to get into the loop, and recognizing the extra time that you get. And I've actually had that as a deal with one of my patients, who was a young man that was very big on playing League of Legends, and he didn't have any other active hobbies. So we made a deal that if he wanted to rehabilitate, he would use every single opportunity he gets when he dies in a game, which can very easily stretch out to like 2 minutes waiting for respawn. So every time he would wait on respawn, he would do a couple of his prescribed exercises. And our deal was that by the end of the 3 months period that he has to do everything at home, when he comes back for checkup, he's either going to be a better player or he's going to be better physically. And I'm okay with both of these things. So
Or
in that
both.
sense, or both, ideally, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And just really recognizing these breakpoints, just as every other workplace has dedicated break times, then I think, and that is both on a personal level of a player, but also more importantly on a team level, because it's also even harder to stop if you're in a team and everybody else is just go 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 all the time. So having that structure of having those small breaks in between matches can not just help your body a little bit recover by just taking a circle around the house or something like that, but also it helps your focus recover. So then you can keep doing better at the game rather than getting into that tunnel vision that your performance will drop down by the end of a 5 hour session because your focus is just not there anymore. There's only as much cognitive attention that you can have at a given time. So the same way that your mind can wander off during a class, the same happens in games, you just don't catch it on time. So these small
Oh.
breaks are really, really important for both the mind and the body. But in terms of exercises, just having something that is active as a hobby, and if you can do it with your esports teammates, that you do a traditional sports session, it can help you become better at communication and understanding each other and how everyone works. So that would be very highly beneficial. But even for individual players or streamers,
Yeah, I was
or
gonna say you're saying
anyone
stuff
else,
for us. We sit there like
yeah,
a couple hours, you know. Sometimes I have to tell myself like get up. But yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
yeah, like anyone involved in the gaming, like whether it's a caster, streamer, game tester, or a gamer, you really need to have those healthy habits to offset the sitting for a prolonged period of time. And there is no right answer to it because it's based on what you like to do. If you just like to have a dance session for 5 minutes in between matches, go for it. So whatever works, as long as it's different than sitting in front of the screen.
Oh wow, thank you. We're gonna go and ask you guys. So we're gonna ask Carrick, where can we find your mouse, and where can people find you or find more information about Quadriclicks, which looks really cool. And then we're gonna ask Violetta, where I guess where people could find you or ask you too. I mean, social media is everywhere, but yeah, go ahead, Carrick.
Okay, sure. You can find us on quadriclicks.com.
Mhm.
You can also find us on Amazon. So I want to make this. So basically, it doesn't matter where you get it from. If you bought a brand new unit, either from Amazon or from Quadriclicks, we do have up to 3 years of warranty on it. So
Wow.
if it breaks, you can actually return it. Um, Happy to send you a new unit.
Okay.
But it's not designed to break. This is the same mouse I've been using. You can see it's probably worn out on the sides somewhat.
Oh.
I've been using the same unit for a little bit over 3 years actually, and
Oh
had no
wow.
problem. Yeah, so
That's
I don't believe in we call it planned obsolescence like most people
Mhm.
do today. Um, Instead, I'd rather for you to buy one, use it for a very very long time, and get your money's worth.
Yeah, that's very good. I mean, that shouldn't get everybody to buy it. That's a great warranty. And Violetta, where can everyone find you? And just like, I mean, end however you like.
Um, Probably the most easy place to find me is through Discord. That would be
Mhm,
Violetta #7785,
mhm,
or Violetta Ivanova at LinkedIn for my more professional profile. If
mhm,
you're interested in reading my research, that would be again my name, Violetta Ivanova, 2020, and the title is Carpal tunnel syndrome symptoms in esports players. If you want to read a little bit more in depth on anatomical factors when it comes to carpal tunnel syndrome, what are the current trends in treating carpal tunnel syndrome, and at what point you should consult a doctor for it, and what are the possibilities from that on. Then the actual research involves measuring of stress in the wrist, physical movement of left to right or around with the mouse, which gave us an indicator of, does gaming actually cause carpal tunnel syndrome, or is the problem somewhere else? And from then on, what we can do about it, because that is info that has not yet been measured. So
yeah.
I thought, well, if it's not measured, then I have to measure it before making conclusions. So we
Yeah.
found out some pretty interesting things. Again, revolving around taking breaks and really listening to what your body is trying to tell you before it gets to the point that like you can't pick up the phone, or how we've seen lately with all the esports players retiring due to long-term injuries. So it can be a really good guide. There are a few exercises on there that you can try, but of course, keeping in mind that it is aimed at physiotherapists and professionals who work with exercise prescription.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your wonderful research. And thank you, Carrick, for that awesome mouse design. I'm pretty sure it's going to get kid on, and I mean, really soon. People are learning more about wellness and physical aspects of esports and gaming. I mean, people just thought it was a hobby. Now it's like a whole profession. So thank you both for coming. I hope you
Thank you.
enjoyed your time here. We might reach out to you again soon. We're going to take a quick break. Make sure you guys go check both Carrick and Violetta's research out, and Carrick's wonderful mouse. Again, 3-year warranty. That ain't bad. So thank you. We'll be right back after this short break. We are back and we're going to get into some Overwatch. Em, are you excited? The teams are doing a scrim and they have thankfully allowed us to go and view it. They're kind of in the middle of their game right now, so we're just going to jump right in. Em, is there anything you want to say before we go in?
Let's see, just to catch you all up to speed, we're going to let you go ahead and know that Team Coven is up by 2 maps. We're currently spectating their present scrim on the Hollywood map, and it looks like the opposing team is presently trying to push to get the 3rd point so that we can go ahead and tie things up here. So we're going to go ahead and jump in whenever you all are ready and go ahead and see what they're up to.
Yeah. So it looks like they're trying to hold this last point, which that payload is moving. Whoa, they're really close. So what do you think about the lineup so far for both teams?
Let's see. It looks like team, and just to make sure I have this right, it looks like team Nascosto is currently running what looks to be like sort of a semi-dive meta with the Winston and Diva on the tanks. We've got a Genji and Tracer for our DPS heroes, and then we have an Ana and a Brigitte as the support, which is actually a lineup that I have not seen very often, but it seems like it is helping them hold in these fights that they engage, so that's really good. Meanwhile, we've got Coven on a pretty strong defense with the current Orisa and Diva. They've got DPS characters of Doomfist and Ashe, and then we've got the one of the stronger support lineups right now in the game, which is Baptiste and Zenyatta. So it looks like they are putting up a really strong defense here. We just saw... I apologize if I have this name wrong. We just saw the Genji take out the Doomfist, and it looks like Team Coven is trying to set back up here. We have a Diva Bomb coming up for Coven, and it looks like we're about to have another Blade on Nascosto's side. The Ana already has her Nano Boost ready, so we could see a Genji Blade, Nano Boosted Genji Blade, come in here pretty engaged to try to get that last push. They only have 30 seconds left, so things are going to get really intense here in a second because we have ults from both teams here. The Zenyatta just got his Transcendence, which means that if the Nano Blade is not be able to pull off successfully, it looks like they're about to engage here, and we do see these Transcendence come out here. Genji Blade looking for people in the back outside of Transcendence, but Zenyatta is not letting him get in there, and the Genji does get taken down in the back. They need to get back on point, though, because they are getting kind of pushed back here, and it looks like Nascosto does get taken down in the end. However, there isn't a lot of people left on point here. Coven looks like they are, the Doomfist comes in with the punch, and he's taking out some heroes. Tracer still on point, though, but is now currently in overtime. We see a swap off of the Orisa onto the Hammond, and he is holding it down with the other characters right now, and it looks like we're just trying to see who can get the pick first, and it looks like it's going to be Coven. Is going to not be able to kind of maintain dominance here on the point, and Nascosto is really holding their own right now. We see a Diva Bomb come out. Looks like it's probably going to get a couple of people. We do see the enemy Diva get taken down, and they're so close to capping this point right now, and they are able to secure that. Normally in scrims, when you do get a tie-up happen, you don't play it out to the end, just so that way teams can get as much practice in as possible. But considering that they are being watched, we're going to go ahead and switch maps here in a second. But as you can see, scrims can get very intense very quickly because you want to treat scrims like they are an actual competitive match. It's not necessarily like a pickup game or PUGs. Pickup games for the acronym for that, where you're playing with your friends. It's usually for fun. Maybe you want to try a different hero. No, scrims are as intense as they can get. I've even seen them be more intense sometimes than actual matches itself, because this is practice time. Usually you see a lot of new people come in and try out during scrims. So you have everyone all at once on both sides of the team trying to give their best.
Speaking of scrims, you do have like familiarity with Wild Beast, who was also on this show before. So that was really cool. You guys played a scrim together.
Yeah, we actually played on the same team, Team Spectrum, for about,
nice.
It's actually been longer than that. I have known Wild for time is difficult. I've never had a very concrete grasp on time, but we have known each other for about a couple of years now, and they are able to secure either on the same team or occasionally on opposing teams for a while. I'm no longer with Team Spectrum, and I'm currently if anyone's out there who needs a teammate, just let me know. But yeah, they play DPS. They previously played tank in our lineup. I played support, and they now are continuing to go down the DPS route and are doing very well. And so I'm very proud of them. And it looks like they have found their footing here with this team right now that they are helping to put together. So that's really great.
Yeah, and it's really cool. At the end of that match, we actually saw them switch off Orisa into the Hammond, which was kind of a nice switch, don't you think?
Yeah, that is one of the best things that you can do if you're trying to just hold on to a point in that last moment. You see it happen on both for defensive teams and for teams that are attacking, because at that point when you're in overtime, it's not necessarily about winning or doing anything cool. It's about you got to hold out. You got to give your other teammates time to get back to the point, as well as give yourself the best chance of lasting as long as possible. And Hammond right now has the best ability to just live long on the point. You just swing around. You are literally a wrecking ball just going around in a circle for as long as you can. So we do see that a lot happen both in scrims and in official games.
Yeah, so we only gave you like a brief intro, but like tell everybody about yourself and like just like a little bit of like your esports and I guess collegiate background and your joy of Overwatch. I don't know if it's a joy, but
yeah, absolutely. It's both a joy and then like the opposite of joy. You can insert whatever like adjectives you would like to into there. But yeah, hi everyone. My name is Madman of M, but most people just call me M. I played collegiate Overwatch for about 2 years in university. I was actually one of the founding members of my college's esports team when it first got up off the ground. And I was also one of the first women and Black women on the team. So I was there when it first got its roots. And I played on the Overwatch team for that whole time. And it was a really great experience to sort of be there with just friends, kind of being like having an idea that like, hey, we would love to bring esports to, you know, our university. And would you like to help out with that? I was like, yeah. So that really took off the ground because in our first year we had no funding and everyone was just kind of like, yeah, sure, you can have an esports team. And then in our second year, when I think the school finally realized, oh, this can be a legit thing. They were just like, would you all like some money? And we were just like, yes, please. And they totally revamped our school's game design lab. So they have a game design major officially. So of course there's a design lab that goes along with that. When we came back over the summer, they had completely installed a esports lab aside the game design lab as well. So there were like high-tech computers, you know, it smelled new. You know how when you walk into a place and it smells new? You don't really get to say that a lot for like esports things, but you know, it had that like new leather chair, new like computer smell, which is a very rare smell indeed. And everything was like clean and perfect. And I was afraid to touch all the computers because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to break something. But it was really great to sort of just be a part of seeing that get up off the ground. Because in our first year, we just had Overwatch, League of Legends, and I want to say Rocket League. And then in our second year, we had Overwatch, League of Legends, Rocket League, Apex Legends, Smash Brothers, and then a few other teams in there as well.
Do you want to shout out your school?
No. Sorry.
Okay.
It's one of those private information things.
Oh, no. It's totally fine.
No, you're more than fine. I will like to shout out my professor, who was amazing. Dr. Bell and Dr. Tran, two amazing female professors. Women professors at the university. They are amazing in their research fields, and they were so supportive of not only the esports team, but also a lot of the people who were in the game design program as well. So y'all are great. If you ever see this, they really helped me sort of not go off the deep end in my last couple of years at school. So they were both great.
So we're going to Volskaya, which is, I think it's another point, right? Yep. How do you feel about the point maps of Overwatch?
2CP it's generally one of the more frustrating map lineups that you have, in that it's a lot about, they can be fun, but it's one of those maps where it's about, it takes both skill and both luck, because it is one of the more punishing maps, and that if you make a mistake and the other team notices it right away, you can lose the point very quickly. Even if you've held out for like 3 minutes and 50 seconds, in that last 10 seconds, if you accidentally happen to fall off of the high ground and everyone jumps on you, you then go into the next round. So it's one of those things where it's like, yes, it can be really amazing to watch and just see everyone do their best and try new strategies, but at the same time, it's like, oh man, you really have to be careful here.
All right. I'm not sure if they're both ready.
See, it looks like things are getting started. So we're seeing what has been something of a new meta over the past 6 months or so to a year, where you have the Zarya and Winston. The Winston really allows you to have that mobility both for attacking and defending, and then the Zarya bubble gives you that extra line of defense, which allows Zarya to stay in the back with her teammates while Winston kind of jump in and do what he needs to do. So it looks like we have from Team Nascosto, we've got the Winston Zarya. We also have a Tracer and Ashe, as well as the Mercy Ana, which gives them some time with the Winston for mobility to try and take space from the enemy team, as well as the other team playing something similar. So we're going to have a lot of poking here on both sides, with the Winston trying to get picks and jump back in to help when needed. So it's going to be something that might take a bit more time on both teams' parts, because right here you can't separate yourself from your team at any point. So it looks like we seem to have gotten a pick from Nascosto onto Team Coven here, with the Ashe taking care of the Tracer. And it looks like we're trying to build up some ults here. We have the Valkyrie coming in from Jolly, and they are trying to hold out here, before even moving on to the point and trying to capture that, because you do have time right now. They are trying to just take care of things that are going on in the background. We have Coven taking out the Ana, which is a pretty important pick there right now, and it looks like Coven is now taking the upper hand. We do see a Zarya ult come out from Nascosto, which I was not expecting, but it seems like they might be switching up here soon. No, they're going to stick with the Zarya coming into the second point here, with Coven taking care of that point. We have a Tracer Bomb on Team Coven's side, as well as a Nano on Team Nascosto. So we have some ults here that could come into play depending on how things develop. Coven isn't moving in right away. It looks like they are content to try and build some ults and just kind of hang out here. We do see the Nano Boost come out on the Winston on Team Nascosto, and it looks like they're trying to build up another Winston ult here to try and sort of maintain their defensive position right now. It looks like the Nascosto's Winston Flambeau QC might need to back up here for a little bit and get some healing before trying to re-engage that fight, and looks like everyone's trying to stabilize here before doing anything. Coven does have the advantage here right now. As you can see, they have 3 ultimates they can use, both with a Tracer Pulse Bomb, we have a Nano Boost, and we have the McCree High Noon that could come into play here. Meanwhile, Nascosto is about to build another Winston ult, and the Valkyrie does get popped here as Coven tries to come in, and they do get that Pulse Bomb off on the Ana, and it looks like Coven is beginning to collapse Nascosto. Just with their ult usage alone, that Ana pick in the beginning seemed to have really destabilize their defensive positions, and Nascosto is going to have to be careful about how they want to re-engage here, because if you come in too early trying to maintain your defensive position on this point, it will not get timed very well. And it looks like Coven is going to take Volskaya here with 3 minutes and 39 seconds to spare on the map, which is a good time if this were to be like a regular comp game or a match, and you're going to want to really have a lot of time here as things begin to progress into the second stage. So let's see. It looks like Coven is going to continue with the Zarya and the Brigitte. Looks like we're going to see Ana again. We do see a Widowmaker here for their defensive positions, which is going to be interesting with the Nascosto's Winston. We're going to have to see how that plays out, though I have every faith that everyone is going to do their absolute best. Let's see, 1 second, I'm sorry.
Both teams are pretty mobile. No, you're okay. Both teams are pretty mobile.
Push to talk, because I was like, I could not hold down that button anymore.
Were you holding the button? Oh, no.
Like, I was just rambling and holding down the button. I was just like, man, this is uncomfortable.
Meanwhile, I'm getting smacked by a cat, but it's okay. Yeah, it's very interesting. The Widowmaker, maybe they're gonna try to hold a choke point here. I'm not sure, or just try it, and if it doesn't work out, switch out immediately. But yeah, both teams are running similar comms. We see like changes on the healing end, which I feel like what is it, Brigitte? I still don't know how to say her name after all these years.
Who does? But yeah, the Brigitte is going to be a really strong choice defensively here, especially to shut down that Tracer who, if left alone to their devices, can just be absolutely devastating to any team's background.
And we got the Mirror Tracer as well. I always say to be the Tracer, you kind of need a Tracer because it's just so annoying. They're so annoying. But yeah, great call, by the way. You're doing an amazing job. So yeah, go for it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting being a somewhat former player and now casting. And
have you not casted before?
I have never casted Overwatch before.
Oh, wow.
My first official time casting Overwatch. I have played since the game released. And I've been a player for a while. So it looks like the Winston here is going to take poke from the NascostoX team, trying to get the upper hand, but the Winston does get that pick on the attacking team's Mercy, which is going to cause them to have to either regroup or push back just a little bit. If they do decide to continue with their engagement, they're going to have to be careful because being down to support can mean either life and death for either team right now. It looks like they're trying to maintain the high ground here in the middle, which is really important for keeping space in this map. The Mercy does return to the fold, and the Zaryas are sort of taking the pokes here on each other. Let's see, it does look like the Widowmaker is being pushed right now with all those characters and the teammates being in the top right-hand corner, forcing the Winston to return back to the low ground. NascostoX does regain control of the point, but we're going to see right now what's going to happen because there are some exchanges right now happening on the screen. The Brigitte does take out the Tracer and it's almost picked by the Winston, but not quite. Meanwhile, the Widowmaker gets 2 picks in the backline on the Ashe and the Mercy, which might push back NascostoX's advancement on capping the point. They are able to get a tick at 35.9%, which does give them a little bit of an advantage for their next engagement here soon. Looks like they need to back out, whether Zarya does get picked off here by the Coven's Tracer, which will definitely force NascostoX to have to regroup here. The Tracer's trying to get out, trying to maintain some sort of position here in the backline for the enemy team. And it looks like things are beginning to restabilize as NascostoX begins to reposition for their next engagement. We are coming up on a lot of ults here. We have the Winston ult on both sides. We have about 2 grabs here in a moment. We have Brigitte's ult, and it looks like a bunch of ults are getting popped. And, Coven's Zarya comes in with 3 picks on NascostoX with their grab right there, and a lot of support from their team as well, forcing NascostoX to return back to their spawn and their attack position to begin for our next engagement here. We're down to 1 minute and 30 seconds about on the time right now, and let's see, Coven still has 3 ults that they have to use for their defensive position right now. They only used the grab, I believe, for that last engagement, and I believe they used their Winston ult too. Meanwhile, it looks like NascostoX is about to have 4 ults here, which could really tip the scales in their favor if they decide to just use everything at once. Now, it's important about Overwatch to know if you do use all of your ultimates, which is not ideal in any situation. You don't want to use all of your special abilities for one engagement, unless it's like the last moment. But if you use too much at one time, that can put you at a disadvantage for either the next engagement or even for the rest of the map entirely.
Yeah, time has to be on your side for some, especially that the time is ticking down. They only got like 45 seconds to capture this point.
Looks like NascostoX does get the pick on the Ana there, booping them off the map entirely, which is going to give them a bit of a longer respawn time as opposed to just getting forced back and needing to heal up. But it does look like the NascostoX Winston does go down. They are kind of poking in here right now because there are only about 30 seconds left, so a play does have to be made if they do want to try and get back on the point and be able to move on to the second engagement. There is a switch off of the Ashe onto a Widowmaker, and we do see a Tracer pick being swapped onto a Kree. McCree gets picked early by Coven's Widowmaker, which is going to give them a bit of a disadvantage here. However, the Widowmaker does get a pick on Coven's Tracer, which evens things up here. Let's see. We have another pick by NascostoX on the point, and it looks like they are trying to hold out here and successfully doing it. This Ana might be about to go down, and she does. Nascosto needs to start stabilizing on this point, though, if they do want to be able to hold out. It's only the Winston, and the Winston does get picked. Lucio tried to help there, but was not able to maintain a lot of presence for too long. And it looks like things are wrapped up here with Team 2 winning. Coven does take Volskaya, with the score for that map having been a full cap of both points, with Nascosto being unfortunately unable to get onto that second point on there for the time. They were able to get a tick, which is really great in any situation because even the slightest tick can give you an advantage depending on what you're trying to accomplish. But unfortunately, Coven does take the victory here.
Yeah, and it is. We should mention that Coven's team is a Grandmaster team. So
yes, Coven's team is a Grandmaster team. Meanwhile, Nascosto, I believe, is having their tryouts right now. So when it comes to tryouts,
trying to put it together,
you don't necessarily want to focus on winning. I will say that if you are anyone out there who likes to play Overwatch and has considered ever trying out for a team or taking their casual playing to the next level, when you're trying out, don't try and win. Don't try and do things fancy. What people who are managing these teams and coaches are going to be looking for is how are you playing with your other teammates first and foremost? Are you communicating effectively? Are you coordinating your ultimates? Are you falling back when a teammate might need help? Are you pushing forward when you see the opportunity to take an advantage? So don't focus so much on trying to get like a 3K or a 4K with your ultimate. No. You want to play smart. You want to play to how you truly play as a person. And you want to show that you have what it takes to be in a team environment, because Overwatch, first and foremost, comes down to communication.
Yeah, and sometimes you could see that communication when you watch these games. You can see like who's coordinating ults, who's going to be, who's pushing to the point. You just see it visually as well. So everything you're saying is just so on point. So yeah. By the way, we're Esports CCP. Make sure you guys follow the channel. We usually do interviews and some scrims games after every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern to 10. We have about 30 minutes left. So we're going to dive into some Ilios, which is one of my favorite maps.
Mine too. Ilios is so much fun. I love a good brawl map for battling to be king of the hill. And Ilios is also such a beautiful map in and of itself. So I'm glad to see this come into play. King of the Hill is really one of the best ways to tell how a team communicates, because it's one of those maps where motion doesn't necessarily come into play as much as it would for, say, a capture point and then a payload, or just a full payload map in which space constantly changes and that you have to work as the map changes as you move forward, or even with a 2CP map where you have to focus on one environment and then just moving on to the next environment. King of the Hill, you have one space that you're kind of working with, and you have to know how to best take advantage as that space doesn't change. So it's a lot about team coordination. And it looks like we're seeing 2 dive teams come out here, which is really, I'm looking forward to this. I love a good dive.
Yes. If you don't come on Ilios with dive, I don't know what you're doing. I'm sorry. I mean, I do like the Orisa comps as well. That comes sometimes on Ilios, but I don't know. I'm a Lucio main. It's just I need you to come with me. All right, we see the diva.
I'm honestly curious as to why it looks like no one's going to decide to take aerial superiority here. We're seeing a lot of dedication to these dives. Winston and Divas on both sides, and on DPS for Nascosto we have a Widowmaker and a Tracer, which is going to be great for trying to take picks in the backline, as well as communicating with that Tracer to wear people down so that way the Widow can come in and finish the job, or vice versa. We have Lucio and Moira on Nascosto as well, and then on Team Coven we have same tank lineup, as well as a Sombra, which I am looking forward to seeing how that comes into play, and a Reaper. Reaper is so strong right now, so the tanks are going to have to be really careful to hear about their engagements. And then for supports, we have a similar lineup with the Moira and the Lucio. It looks like Team Coven is going to take the win here in the beginning. That was a very long engagement on both team sides. And it looks like Team Coven is finally going to kind of get the upper hand here. That Sombra Reaper lineup is going to be deadly unless countered, because those hacks combined with the just absolute damage that can come out from a Reaper in any given moment you got to be careful for that. And it looks like they are going to make a change in the DPS lineup to match. We have now a complete matchup in teams with the Reaper and the Sombra on both sides now. So we're going to have to see who gets the advantage right now. We see some ults come out. We see the Moira ult come out with the Coalescence here on Nascosto trying to push in and get the point here. We have, I believe,
beat drop.
Ooh, we do have that beat drop. Let's see. And it looks like Coven is going to try and maintain this here. However, they had to give a lot. However, we do have some ultimates being recharged again on both sides. We have to see both the EMP and the Death Blossom come out from Coven, which is 2 DPS ults at once, which can give Nascosto the upper hand here, depending on how quickly they can build their DPS ults and tank ults again soon. Looks like Coven Sombra is going to take out the enemy teams, pushing Nascosto back a little bit. However, the Reaper does take out Coven's Lucio, which is going to kind of even things up a little bit, but it looks like we do see a Diva Bomb come out from Coven, which does push them back ultimately. We sort of see a bit of engagement here in this Ilios choke, which can be both a boon and not so great depending on what things happen, because on the one hand, while you can keep an enemy team locked in that background, you can also get stuck too if you're attacking without realizing it. Looks like we do go into overtime here with some people being able to touch the point at the last second. We do see a Death Blossom come out with the Reaper on point here from Nascosto, but is it going to be enough for them to cap this point here? And it's not, unfortunately. We do see the team get pushed off here in the last second. So Coven's going to be up 1-0 on Nascosto here with another engagement coming on soon for Ilios. Let's see what map it is. It looks like it is... We don't see well yet. Well, it can be fun, but it's going to be... I forget what this one is called, but it is... can be a very interesting map for engagements because it is not a direct engagement onto the point from when you come out of spawn. You sort of have to take that... You sort of have to go left or right here, depending on where you come out on the side of the map, which can lead to some interesting engagements either on the point or off the point, because it's not directly linear.
We do see some changes. We see a Bastion coming up. Yeah, and a Pharah. I think Coven is making some switches, right? And we saw some great Sombra activity. How did you like that? You were looking forward to fun.
I was very much looking forward to it. I love seeing Sombras go head to head and seeing what kind of hacks the team prefers.
Yeah, there were a couple beautiful hacks on both teams, and I was just like, ooh, that's kind of good. Coven is just really just giving it to them, though, which is, I mean, it's a scrim, but it's good to like get the full potential of the other team out there, right?
It is, and Nascosto is definitely giving their all in these fights. They aren't allowing themselves to just totally be taken down at any engagement here. It's purely coming down to this seems like they're just starting. They're definitely new, and you know what you gonna do against a team that's Grandmaster?
Yeah.
Let's see, but it does seem like Coven is
together.
It does seem like Coven is going to try and get some aerial superiority here with the Farm Mercy, which I love seeing on Ilios maps. It looks like Nascosto is being able to still hold it out, though. They're going to have to be careful with these engagements again, because we do see a Zenyatta on the Coven team, which if you dive in and the Zenyatta gets that Discord orb on you and you are not ready, you will just get shredded. We're seeing a lot of exchanges happen right now on both sides of the team. It looks like Coven does get on the point first, but it is difficult to say who's going to eventually end up with the win here, because it looks like it's going to end up being Coven just by pure numbers alone. But Nascosto did get a lot of good picks there in the beginning. We saw the Pharah go down, needing to come back out of spawn and catch up with their Mercy, who is still left on the field. And it looks like we might see a few more ults getting built up here on both sides. We're going to see a Transcendence here in place soon. We're going to have a High Noon, and we're going to have a rally from Vegeta. So a lot could happen in such a short amount of time. We also have an upcoming Barrage, which does come into play. The Transcendence does get popped a little bit early, it looks like it. And it looks like they did drop down from that high ground. We see some folks coming here on the Zenyatta. It looks like the Winston is really pushing that Zen, and Brigitte is being bombarded by this Hammond here, which is really distracting them from getting onto the point. Let's see, it looks like Nascosto's going to take the upper hand here. Ooh, but we do see the barrage get popped on Coven's side, taking out 2 in the background. And we see Agave come into play as well from Nascosto, which is going to get them the point. So amazing play here with coordinating that grab at the last second, giving them the upper hand to really take that point. So
yeah,
Nascosto
that's really
now,
cool.
Nascosto
They finally
now
get the point.
yes, they earned that point. They definitely earned that
They
point.
definitely earned it. That was a great play.
So we're going to see a Winston ult get popped early, which is actually a pretty good decision considering that they want to get their time up more as opposed to engaging in fights and winning them. 2 CP and King of the Hill is all about time. So we do see a Nano come out on, it looks like I want to say the Brig, but couldn't quite see. Most short characters all have the same profile to me, so sometimes it's hard to tell. And we do see Nascosto taking out the Mercy, which is going to leave the Pharah alone in the backline kind of by themselves, so they're going to have to play this very carefully, because if they get picked, it's going to put Coven back a little bit for another engagement. It was a very well thought out high noon from the Nascosto's McCree, trying to even just get one character, especially if a vital character like a support can mean so much. It's not always about those big plays and getting your ults to be as cool as it is. It's about using what you have and using it in the best way possible. So we see the Zenyatta get pushed up here by the Winston, forcing them to use Transient just to get out of that situation and regroup with their team. They do have to relinquish the high ground, and now they're alone on point, but it looks like Coven is going to take the advantage here and push Nascosto back off the point. However, Nascosto did get this their points up to 80. We're going to see maybe potentially 90% here in just a second, which is great for them. We have 89% from Nascosto. They're going to have to move in fast here to keep Coven from capping this point, which would put them at 2-0 and win in the map. But it would... They have themselves a really great position here to re-engage with 3 ults soon. And then we have about 4 ults coming up on Coven, so anything could happen here. Let's see, they do get the pick on the Mercy from Coven. It looks like the Winston does push in on the Zenyatta, which gives them an amazing advantage. They do pop Barrage, but it does not seem to be able to do the trick, and they are able to get back on the point here and cap it. If they're able to hold it, though, that is the question, because Coven also has gotten their points up to 85%. So if they push in here quickly enough, they could regain them. But right now, it seems like it's just the Hammond who goes down on the McCree. Nascosto does not want to give this up. They're like, no, we have earned this. This is ours. The Tracer goes down, unfortunately, but then Pharah goes down, so it's a DPS trade-off again.
The team on the back.
McCree's got to get back to his supports before he gets picked off here. We do see a D.Va bomb come out, but it doesn't look like it's going to be quite enough. We got to get... Ooh, it looks like D.Va gets pushed off and pushed out the back. So we still have the Winston on point. Winston pops his, which should hopefully buy them some time for the teammates to get back. The Nascosto's Ana goes down as well as their Tracer. Winston's still trying to hold it out. Coven does recapture this point with 99 to 90%.
Oh, wow.
Let's see if Nascosto is able to get back quickly enough. We do still have the Winston who could touch the last second, but unless there are teammates there to back him up, it will just not be enough for him to hold out long enough. Looks like the McCree gets picked out for going to try and get the flank on the far left, and they are able to touch, but we have an interesting engagement here with the Transcendence coming out, being able to heal teammates who are on the point. We have a big nade from Ana, but with no one there to be able to follow up on that, it's not going to be enough for them to be able to get that advantage. It looks like Coven is going to be able to hold out here and get the 2-0.
Wow, what that was a clincher. We're gonna just call
that was
wow.
So good. That was so good by
so
everybody.
Close. Yeah, I mean they held them to 99. That is just oh man. But that was really great for Nascosto. I don't even know if I'm saying the name right, but they did really well that turn. As you can see, they got it to 99%. So close, so close.
They did, which puts them in a good position here now that they seem to have finally, not necessarily finally, but it seems like they have found a really good group for themselves with the dive and then with their DPS and support lineup, being able to follow up in the back, giving Coven a run for their money that last match. We saw some
really great McCree
have to come out on Coven's side, switching on to the Ham in there. To try and combat those in the backline who were really giving them a run for their money. It looks like we are going to see some Orisa play coming in just for Allie. Double shield. Double shield on Coven with the Symmetra and the McCree.
We see Echo.
We see Lucy now. I love seeing Echo.
Do you?
Echo? Yes, I do.
So interesting to me, but yeah, it's really great that we got some Echo play coming out as well. But I kind of wish they kind of stuck to the McCree, but it's cool. Maybe they're better at Echo.
We're getting some really careful pokes here by both sides. That double shield will not hold up for very long with the Reaper, just putting out pure damage on those shields. And it looks like we do see a Coven pick on both the Moira and the Echo. It looks like they are going to get this early engagement. However, we are going to see some ults getting built on both sides. It looks like we're coming up on a Coalescence from the Moira, and then Baptiste is going to have his window here in just a moment. We see a swap off of the D.Va onto the Zarya and the Reinhardt, which is going to be a pure brawl composition. We also see the Echo get swapped to a Mei, which is going to give force Coven here to probably reconsider their positioning for a moment at least until NascostoX can get up here. The window gets out, and they walk through that to get that engagement. The wall goes up, and we see the Zarya begin to build up some charge here. Coven gets pushed back onto the point. They have to relinquish that room. The brawl here is always going to be strong. We see a Sigma ult come out, and it gets lifted up into the McCree ult to be able to get some picks off of Nascosto. However, Lucio does get sort of a revenge boop on the McCree there, pushing him into the well, sort of to say like, okay, I get it, you got the high noon, I get that, but just to remind you where you are and that I'm Lucio, this is my well. I'm gonna boop you in here, just the once. Let's see. It looks like Nascosto's gonna get the reposition here. The Baptiste needs to back out. Trying to build up some more ult charge to get another window soon, and they weren't able to get any picks, but they were able to build up that ult charge, which is so important for any support characters, getting your ult back as soon as you can after you've already used one.
I like the BAP comp as well.
Ooh, we see a wall come out here. A really good wall from Nascosto, forcing the McCree to, die. And then it looks like they just completely continue to walk right into the team here since they are down such a crucial part of what comes to double shield, which is damage on their defensive. We see a lot of picks come in, really good picks. Sightless coming in with 3 kills there, which is going to gain them the point. They're going to have to play very, very carefully here, seeing as they have 2 ults in play right now as opposed to the 2 ults, so we have even ults right now, but we are coming up on a Blizzard, and we are coming up on another I actually have no idea what Sigma's ult's called. I just call it lift them up.
I have no idea. I just say like a gravity thing. I don't remember what it was, but we do have a shatter
Blizzard
as well
come
from
out
the Rhine.
as soon as Mei gets it, and it does give them the advantage here. Just if you can't move in Overwatch, you are a sitting duck. And you're sitting duck on a frozen pond in this case, with a Blizzard. And we see Nascostos maintain their position here. They're doing really well with these brawl engagements. We did see the Zarya swap onto the D.Va again, which I think is really important considering that they have a lot of hitscan characters right here, and Zarya just can't necessarily absorb all of that with her bubbles alone. So the defense matrix is really coming into play here. As we can see, they're waiting for it to rebuild back up before taking any poke. Coven is pushing over to the right. However, this wall is really punishing them right now. But it does seem like the Immortality field does come out. Ooh, it looks like Coven is going to pop some ults and give them the advantage here to move back into the point. We see a lot of ults come out. Looks like we saw both the Death Blossom. I think we both saw the Sigma ult earlier. Didn't get to witness it, but it does put them at a slight disadvantage now with such an important damage ult being used up to get the point here. But if Costo cannot touch from the 99 threshold here in just a moment, it might not be good for them. We see the boop on the Orisa from the Lucio, which is going to be such a crucial pick. D.Va is just absorbing everything, coming out with the self-destruct. Not going to find anybody, but it's going to force them to reposition themselves in the back. And we do see Mei get popped by the Sigma over there in the back. We see them push the Sigma really hard right now, falls to the Reinhardt. And then the backline is just going to collapse right after that, giving NascostoX that point back. After Lucio gets a double boost on the McCree and the Lucio, which is going to leave the Orisa back here by herself. She's probably going to get picked. She cannot get some cover here in just a moment, but she's able to make it behind. Reinhardt does fall early with the Orisa pulling them into the well without them realizing it. So Reinhardt needs to get back here before Coven can begin with another push, but that's going to put them at a disadvantage. It looks like that they do make it back in time, but they are a bit split here, which is going to put them at a slight disadvantage. Oh, Mei gets booped into the point by Lucio, which is going to be so hard for NascostoX to recover from that. We do see a boop on the Orisa into the pool. Not the pool, that's a well, there's no water. However, the double boop by the Lucio means that they might be able to hold this just a little bit longer by just maintaining that threshold and trying to survive for your teammates to get back. We have a 99 on both sides. Reinhardt looks like he's going to touch just in time. We have no ult on Nascosto, but if they can just hold it out and try to maintain a bit of a position here, they might be able to hang in there. We have Nascosto coming back. Amazing hold. She got right on there and just held her position as she needed to. And we see some pokes coming in. We see not a successful Sigma ult, unfortunately. It looks like, more, we do get some character picks here and there. It looks like Nascosto is making a comeback. Oh my goodness.
This is really good showing for them. Oh no, someone just
they gotta get the point here. The Lucio is trying to stall, but it looks like they get pushed back off. We do see some stall picks coming into play here, but NascostoX is gonna recapture this point with no one to touch in that last second. So we do see NascostoX coming in here, bringing the score up 1-2, which was an amazing play, which was so great to see. They learned, they adapted, and they changed, and were able to pressure Team Coven back out and get themselves a tick on the scoreboard.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Might be
Sorry,
seeing
we're
some
back.
swaps.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a swap, but that was really good plays, and it's really cool that Team NascostoX, that's how you pronounced it. There you go.
It looks like things are wrapping up here, but we did get some really good maps and really good scrims for their last little bit. So it looks like everyone's wrapping up, saying GG's, wishing everyone the best. So we were able to witness Costco get, I'm sorry, that's definitely not how you say it. I said Costco. And I was like, NascostoX get a point here. Really fought well for that in that last few seconds of overtime against Team Coven, who were giving their all, trying to maintain, trying to go for that 3-0, but NascostoX was not going to let them. They do get that extra tick on the scoreboard, giving them a 1-2, which is great for a new team against a Grandmaster team who's been playing together for a while. So that definitely, we saw some amazing picks from the DPS swaps. We saw that swap onto the Mei, which really punished the double shield because it was able to split teammates, where playing together is really important with double shield, and that you can't necessarily wander away from one another. You got to play together. You got to layer those shields one on top of another, so that way when one breaks, another one can come in and give the other time to recharge. So that was really great to see. It looks like they are moving on to another scrim partner, so we might see some more here in a bit, which is going to be really interesting. So we're going to see Coven head off for the night. They fought really well, and they definitely fought hard. So GG's to them. Definitely rest up and enjoy their weekend. Friday scrims are always when you want to give your best because it's the end of the week.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So thank you to M. Thank you. Tell everybody where they could find you and like what have you been playing. Just give the whole thing.
Absolutely. So again, my name is Mad Madam M. I go by that name on all of my socials. You can find me here on Twitch. And you can also find me on Twitter by that same name. I wrapped up Resident Evil Village, which, dear God, that's all I'll say. And I recently am beginning to find my footing again, hoping to play some Overwatch live on stream soon, as well as anticipate some of these new releases that I'm hoping we'll get to see coming out this summer. And then definitely I'll be watching E3 this weekend and next week. So I'm looking forward to tuning into that.
Same. I'm so excited about it. You do have a guild on World of Warcraft that you started. I do want you to talk about that a little bit and where people could find that. And
absolutely. So you can find our guild. Our guild is named the Court of Stars after one of my favorite dungeons. Yes, Dungeons from World of Warcraft's Legion, which is such a fun expansion. It is made specifically for women identifying and non-binary people of color who play World of Warcraft. You can find us on Twitter. It is spelled exactly as it sounds. It's the Court of Stars on Twitter to find out more about how to get an application or just more about how to get into WoW overall. We'd be happy to have you apply. We are just finding our footing, and we are hoping to provide not only a safe space for people who play WoW, because WoW can be very intense. And just but we will hopefully be able to get more members soon and just be able to provide a safe and supportive place for people who play WoW, because WoW can be very overwhelming for new players.
Yes.
So much that goes into learning any MMO. And we want to, once we start getting more members and finding our footing and seeing what people need help with, be able to teach them about how to properly go about leveling up in dungeons, getting your gear, learning about raids, and then hopefully challenging yourselves to find your footing. I used to do mythic raids. I still do. I did in Legion. I did probably too many raids for someone who was still in. But I did mythic keystone. I believe my highest level was 13. So, and that's the highest you can get is 16.
Yeah.
So I was really pushing myself there near the end of that expansion to try and get to mythic keystone 16. But I had to graduate, so it's like priorities. But hopefully I'm looking forward to trying that again during Shadowlands, which I am very excited to see what new raids are coming real soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Of course, I'm That's So Alleycat. You can find me at That's So Alleycat on everything. Thank you to our sponsors, ESTV, Corsair, The Game Hers, NFL Alumni. Thank you so much for sponsoring this stream. Thank you to our guests, Carrick and Violetta. Thank you to Catherine and Bayou, all the mods in the chat, and our producer Nick. It is Nick, right? Yeah. And thank you to Agave Esports and their scrim partner for coming through, and Nascosto. Thank you so much for lending us your team for those amazing scrims. That's it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week with another great session of the Hive Weekly. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great night.